Welcome to the Strategy CAD Methodology and Tools Guide. My name is Amy and I will be your guide through this session. The purpose of the guide is to support you and your team to develop and implement business strategy as an organizational capability. We are in Phase 1. Our ambition in Phase 1 is to set you up with a unified definition and approach to business strategy so that everybody is purposed towards the same outcomes and speaking the same language. In this session, we are introducing or reintroducing you to generic strategies, or strategy patterns. Understanding or refreshing your memory on these strategy patterns will give you an edge in making your strategic choices consistently and faster. The type of strategy pattern that you choose will vary with your aspirations, your capabilities, and your resources. So, what is our mission in this session? In this session, I want to outline for you the types of generic strategies that you can choose from. I want to share with you an outline of the features and the requirements of each type. I then want to introduce you to the idea of being stuck in the middle, as a consequence of a failure to choose. Together, we can demonstrate how you could apply the generic strategy patterns to an example. At the end, there is a challenge for you and your team that may give you some competitive insights and discovery of an opportunity in your market. Let's begin with, what is the purpose of a business? Well, the great Peter Drucker would say the purpose of a business is to create a customer. There are really only two reasons that customers buy, and that is they have found an acceptable product at a price that is cheaper than the alternatives. Customers usually want to satisfy their needs at the best possible price, although if the need is great enough, any price. Hence, an alternative reason why customers buy is they have additional needs and therefore they're looking for a product that is specifically matching those needs and they are willing to pay extra for it. A BMW car is not the cheapest car, but it meets some customers' additional needs and at a more premium price. There is a great article on the Harvard Business Review from Roger Martin describing why there are still only two ways to compete. Our first mission objective is to define the types of generic strategies you can choose from. So let's do that. So there's really only two. There's a cost leadership strategy. The difficult part about a cost leadership strategy is there's usually only one cost leader. Whereas the second strategy type is differentiation. In differentiation, there can be multiple differentiation players or competitors in a particular market and they compete on different attributes of their products, usually targeting different customer segments based on needs. Of course, there can be cost leadership with differentiation as occurs in low-cost airlines. They compete on prices and some differentiation. Some people then divide cost leadership and differentiation into the scope of the market addressed. Some people will say there's a cost leadership, broad market and focused market, and differentiation, broad market and focused market. It doesn't really change too much the capabilities required of the strategy. So let's get on with our second mission objective to outline the features and requirements of each type. We will start with differentiation. In a differentiation strategy, competitive advantage is created by offering differentiated, superior or in some way unique product or service at a price some segments of the market are willing to pay. There are risks associated with and capabilities needed for a differentiation strategy. So starting with the main risks. The risks recognize that you are doing something unique, special or additionally valuable. That usually comes with more research, more development and therefore higher costs. Another risk is that the product may have limited appeal. The capabilities or the competencies usually needed for a differentiation strategy include innovation. Innovation is the ability to solve problems in unique and valuable ways. Innovation requires strong research and development capability, firstly to understand what needs and challenges consumers are facing. Additionally, quality management to ensure the product really delivers a delightful customer experience in meeting the differentiated needs. Branding and marketing are also important in differentiation. There is some need to educate the market on why a product is different and therefore more costly. Another risk with differentiation strategy are imitators and therefore increased competition. Finally, there can be a change in customer preferences. Changes in social attitudes or a new technology might diminish the demand for the product, For example, the iPhone killed the market for BlackBerry and others. Again, it is those same competencies that can help mitigate those risks in a differentiation strategy. What about a cost leadership strategy? In a cost leadership strategy, the competitive advantage is achieved through bringing products to market at the lowest possible cost, and the common mechanism is economies of scale. That is producing or purchasing large volumes of products so the overall unit cost of each product is lower, supported by a relentless focus on cost reduction through each stage of the integrated value delivery system. For example, the role of procurement will be to obtain supplies of required quality at the lowest possible cost. Operations operates at the lowest possible cost. Service and support may be minimal or cost extra. Marketing is usually limited, in cost leaders. What are the main risks of being a cost leader? Firstly, there is usually only one cost leader. Second, is being out-innovated in terms of cost leadership. A competitor finds a way to bring a product to market cheaper than the cost leader through automation, process improvement, etc. Cost leaders still run the risk of having low demand for a product that they produced at volume. Finally, there is the risk of poor quality. In this case, the cost leader has cut costs so much that then the product is not of a sufficient quality that consumers will pay for it. It can be difficult for a cost leader to differentiate because it can be crowded at the cheap end of the market, and you've got a large upfront investment in fixed costs to generate those economies of scale. Hence, you may get cost leadership with some differentiation, for example McDonald's and Southwest Airlines. What happens to those who fail to choose? They are not a cost leader and they are not differentiated in any way. Well, in this case, they can end up in a dilemma known as being stuck in the middle, which is where the business is not price competitive and it's not superior. There's really no motivation for customers in any volume to buy the products or services from this business because they're not better than any other product. And there's other products that are cheaper. What about some examples? Arby's faced the dilemma of being stuck in the middle and are currently working their way out of that. Sears, who were once famous for the great Sears catalog, but ultimately they failed to control their costs. They had no differentiation, their prices were higher and they filed for bankruptcy. Circuit City, who were oddly enough featured, at one stage, in Jim Collins's book, Good to Great. They must have taken their eye off the ball. Best Buy were providing superior service and had lower prices. So for Circuit City they were not cheaper, they were not better and filed for bankruptcy in 2009. Together we can review the generic strategies with an example. Imagine that you have brought to market the most advanced cell phone in history. You introduced such a phone to the market. But soon there was a flood of imitators with alternative offerings with similar features to your innovative phone. So what can you do? You really only have two choices. In option 1, you can continue to differentiate your cell phone. You can continue to ensure that it has the fastest and most reliable technology, that it all works seamlessly. You can continue to innovate the design to ensure that it is beautifully designed and extremely easy to use. You can support the developers who build the apps for your mobile platform to ensure that there are an abundance of apps for just about any job a customer would want to do. In other words, you will continuously innovate your differentiation so that the target market that you are addressing considers your product to be superior. What about option 2? You could surrender on being superior. You could ensure that your cell phone is priced competitively against the flood of alternatives in the market. So you would bring down your costs, you would focus on standardization, good enough but not superior technology, so that you could bring your product to market at a lower or even the lowest price. Now you would be offering superior value by competing against those rivals on price rather than superior features. What if you were to do neither? What would happen then? Well, then you would have a cell phone that is not superior and it's not price competitive and would probably join the ranks of the Nokia and the BlackBerry product lines. So the super helpful thing about once you choose a strategy pattern is in the Strategy CAD Strategic Choices canvas, you can almost go straight in and complete the capabilities that are going to be needed for your particular strategy. You can use the Capability Canvas worksheets to identify where you are with those competencies and then even identify any weaknesses you have in relation to those necessary competencies and begin to resolve and nurture those capabilities to be at a level that will enable you to fulfill your strategy. Finally, there are some other ways to classify your strategy. These augment the cost leadership and the differentiation strategy patterns. There are 3 of them. There's operational excellence, product leadership, and customer intimacy. Toyota is a famous example of operational excellence. Operational excellence is usually associated with being a cost leader when aiming for competitive advantage. Operational excellence is a strategic approach that focuses on continually improving the efficiency and effectiveness of an organization's operations in order to deliver high-quality products or services at the lowest possible cost. Then you have product leadership. Product leadership was embraced by Steve Jobs and now Elon Musk. Product leaders want to have the best product for a particular segment of a market, so they are focused on differentiation, specific engineering and design capabilities, all the things necessary to bring the best product to market. But there is another option for differentiation. That is customer intimacy. Customer intimacy strategies involve gathering detailed data on customer behavior, preferences, and needs, and using this data to create customized offerings and marketing campaigns. They may also involve building strong, ongoing communication with customers and providing a high level of customer service. The Four Seasons Hotel, for example, provides highly personalized customer experiences. Is an example of customer centricity, as might be some of the financial advisory services to high net worth people. What about that challenge or opportunity I promised you? Please consider these questions and see what insights they provide for you. For your business, do you expect or do you have a differentiation or a low-cost strategy? Are you currently differentiating but also competing too frequently on price? Could more or better differentiation relieve price pressure? If you are using a low-cost strategy, are you using an operational excellence strategy to create your competitive advantage with low cost and good quality? If yours is a differentiation strategy, are you focused on product leadership or customer intimacy? Can you think of a business that you admire? What kind of strategy do they have? Consider some of the businesses that you are competing against. What kind of strategies do you think they have, or maybe they don't have one? Maybe they're a mixed bag, stuck in the middle. If you think about your industry, who would you describe as the cost leader? If you think about your industry, who would you consider to be using a product leadership strategy? Is there a business in your competitive arena that you would say is using a customer intimacy strategy? If you can't think of a business that is either a cost leader, a product leader, or a customer intimacy leader, does that create a gap for your business to embrace one of those strategies in your market? Remember, customer intimacy requires a significant investment in resources and may not be feasible for all companies, particularly those operating in highly competitive markets or lacking access to customers who are willing to pay. Hopefully, that challenge will be of interest to you. We have, in this session, defined the types of generic strategies that you can choose from. We have outlined some of the features and capability requirements of each one. We have updated you to the idea of being stuck in the middle as a consequence of the failure to choose. We did a quick example to demonstrate the main 2 ways to choose your strategy. Finally, and hopefully you will find the challenge interesting. In the next session, we will look at why strategy is more relevant in environments with significant change. A common question that comes up is, the environment is changing so quickly. Is there any point in even having a strategy? So let's answer that question in the next section. Thanks so much. Bye for now.